Hello and welcome back to Bible Buddy Forever. My name is Veena, your Bible Buddy Forever. Today we have a little bit of a different kind of video where I'll be sitting here and talking to you about my travel to Medjugorje and how it has truly transformed my life spiritually as well as personally. And I want to share everything that I've experienced, and I hope that this video is inspiring you in some way or helping you get closer to God day by day. Before we get started with the video itself, if you're planning to go to Medjugorje or if you've already been to Medjugorje, make sure to leave that in the comment section. If you've been to Medjugorje and you've experienced beautiful miracles happening, please make sure to leave that in the comments as well, and it's going to encourage everybody. And one last thing, if you have any prayer requests, please make sure to leave that here as well. As a community, we can also start praying for each other. So we are here to support everybody. So I have to be honest, I've been preparing for this video for a long time. I just am not able to get in the right words. I've tried to talk to a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of crowd, and figure out what is the best way to deliver this message to you. Well, maybe I was thinking too much. Maybe I'm trying to make it as perfect as I want it to be, or I can deliver it to you. But I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to talk about in this video. And so I have a whole bunch of notes that I've written down on some of the things that I want to tell you about today. So I'll give you a small introduction, what Medjugorje is and why it is so famous and why people are going there to get their life transformed, and a short story of it, and then how and why I went to Medjugorje and how it has really transformed my life. And then I'll talk to you a little bit about, in a vlog style, I'll talk to you about the 3 days that I got to spend in Medjugorje, what I did in those 3 days, and some of the places that I went to, some of the people that I will recommend to you as well. Let's not wait any longer and let's get right into the video. Okay, so as you can all tell, I am a Catholic. With all the images here, and my faith with Christ has always been as a Catholic, and I'm so lucky that I was born in the family that I am born in, that they taught me a lot of things about Christianity. But the only thing that I've noticed is that when you grow up in the church, sometimes you feel so used to the things that you don't give so much importance to what it is that you're really practicing. You're following other people, you're doing the things that other people told you, and you're not really experiencing and knowing God personally. And that was my life being a Catholic. And after moving to the city that I live in right now, I've come across a lot of people who were recent converts. I'm not just talking about converts to being a Catholic, but also just becoming a Christian. And I see that their spiritual life is a lot more stronger than people who've been Christians all their life, because we know exactly what our God has given us being a Christian, but we don't experience that spiritual power that they experience when they sit and pray to God. And this is what my life was like. So in my personal life, I was somebody who's always so intrigued by supernatural activities and how God has gone and how people have really experienced God in their own personal life. I have been fighting with God since 2017 for God to give me experiences like that, so I know and have that deep connection with God. And I have to tell you, I'm not new to supernatural experiences. I've seen some of these things happen to other people, and I've witnessed a few of these things happen to others as well as myself. And the problem with all of this was I knew God always existed. Even when life was becoming so hard and tough, I knew God existed. So that was not my question, but something was not sustaining me and keeping me in that love of God. When I get close to God, I get super close. I experience something beautiful from God. That's a gift that's given to me. And then God gives me tests. He tests me to see how strong I am in my faith. I always failed. I always failed by having the wrong people in my life, by having the wrong friendships in my life, and I never really gave importance to prayer life and how to have that connection with God permanently. And this was something that I received as a beautiful gift going to Medjugorje, and I hope that God will keep this gift with me forever until the day I die. This is my prayer to God. So what is Medjugorje? This is what I want to talk to you about now. Medjugorje is a small village in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I can't ever say that word correctly, but it is a city in Bosnia, super close to Croatia. What exactly happened in Medjugorje and why is it so famous? So I want to read some of the things that I've written down here as well. So it is reported that Mother Mary, our Virgin Mother Mary, Mother of Jesus, Mother of God, appears to villagers there, appeared to 6 villagers to be specific there, and she was giving messages of peace to these people and telling them exactly what to do in order for this world to experience peace, in order for us to prepare for the return of her son Jesus Christ into this world. These apparitions started happening since June 24th, 1981 to 6 local children, and have claimed to have seen and received messages from the Virgin Mary. And these messages emphasizes the importance of prayer, conversion, and peace. These were the things that Mother Mary was giving as gifts for those visionaries. And these messages were not just for those 6 visionaries, but for everybody to practice in their life and for us to prepare for the time when Jesus is returning back to this world to rule over everyone with peace, right? And so yeah, this basically brought a lot of attention to a lot of Christians, whether if it be Catholics or not. A lot of Christians went to Medjugorje and they wanted to experience where Mother Mary herself was visiting Earth and speaking to the people. Even though a lot of Christians and Catholics were going to Medjugorje, the Vatican did not really approve of them. Before the Vatican officially says that this is, something that you can go and pray to, they go through a lot of testing processes. They go through a lot of procedures for them to make it official. But in September of 2024, the Dicastery for the Doctrine of Faith, DDF, with the approval of Pope Francis, issued a document titled The Queen of Peace. Note about the spiritual experiences connected with Medjugorje was released. So this document basically gives the sanction from the Vatican as well for us to be able to go there and pray. But more than anything, we need to judge anything by its fruits. And that's exactly what people were doing as they were going to Medjugorje and visiting Medjugorje even before the approval. All the priests and everybody who have visited Medjugorje before the approval were also saying the same things. You can judge it by its fruits. And if you want to find fruits about what Medjugorje has done for people, you will find so many documentaries, so many miracles, and so many supernatural things people have experienced in their own life, including curing of cancer, including coming back to faith and knowing Christ and having that constant relationship with God, something that transforms your life permanently. And this is exactly what has happened to a whole bunch of people. Now, getting into why I was inspired to go there. In 2023, I, through another friend, was introduced to a priest, and he was basically my spiritual director, and he used to send me a lot of resources to help me get stronger in faith. And I also speak to him about my personal life, and he was basically giving me resources that's going to be helpful in order for me to cope, those particular circumstances at that time. And as he was giving me these resources, I was looking through YouTube, and I came across this YouTube channel called The Queen of Peace Media. As I was watching some of the videos from that channel, I came across this book written by Christine Watkins called as The Warning. That book, The Warning, talks about a whole bunch of testimonies and prophecies of the illumination of conscience. That is something that everybody on this earth, when they die or when they experience the light of God, she talks about what exactly happens with the illumination of conscience or the warning to the people that will experience it. Of course, we all will experience it as human beings. It's almost like the judgment day where our soul is going through and we see our soul in its pure truth, where every action that we have done, whether if it's good or bad, is going to be judged, and we get a reflection of who we are truly in God's eyes. This book basically includes a whole bunch of testimonies and prophecies from various saints, mystics, as well as stories of individuals who have reportedly experienced these phenomenons. One of the biggest characters that I really want to talk to you about from that book is Father Rick Wendell. You will hear about his testimony in that book, but if you want a deeper knowledge, he's also written a book himself, as well as I will link the video of him giving a video testimony of exactly what he went through in the description and also in the comment section. I will also leave a link to this book. I was able to find an audio version of that book on YouTube, so if you do have some time, I would recommend you listen to that book, and I hope that it really will open your eyes. I was so intrigued by this book because, like I said, I love to see supernatural things. I love to experience God face to face. I love to know God in a personal level. This was something that I've been doing for a long time, and anything that talks about things like this, I'm so interested in. This is one of the reasons how I got to know about Medjugorje, and this kind of inspired me to go there. I want to talk to you about why I finally decided to go there myself and experience it by myself. If you know me, you know that I love to travel solo, and this is exactly what I did. So in the fall of 2023, I was going through a very hard period of my life. I was going through so much emotionally. I was going through a lot financially as well. To be quite honest, I didn't even have the sufficient funds to be able to travel to Europe. And of course, when God wants you to do something, he's going to make a way for it. And I've experienced that time in and time again in my life, and God provided it for me. And that is a miracle in itself. At that point in my life, I was in a very emotionally and spiritually weak place. Maybe not spiritually, because I was actually asking God for bigger things. I was asking God for my purpose. To be quite honest, God has given me everything. God has given me two beautiful parents that really truly love me, and I have everything that I need. I have everything that I need, but I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. I wasn't even happy with my spiritual and prayer life with God. I wasn't happy with anything because I couldn't understand what the purpose of me being on earth was. It was a very emotionally rough time for me. And I thought, a lot of people have been talking about Medjugorje. Why not I go there myself and experience that myself? It was a hard time. I ended up booking my tickets. I ended up planning out my entire trip. It came to a point where in my life I was so lost for my purpose on earth. I just didn't know what God created me for. I just didn't know why God wanted me to experience the things that I experienced in my life, and I just wanted God to sit with me and talk to me and tell me exactly what his plan was with my life. And I was in a place where I felt like I really needed something more, not something that was always temporary, because I didn't want something that I experienced so beautifully and then I didn't want another distraction, another worldly event to happen that's going to pull me so far away from God. I just wanted something so permanent that will shake my soul to the core, that I'm so stuck with God. This was the one reason why I traveled. I wasn't even asking God for any personal gains or anything like that. I just wanted God to tell me why he sent me to earth. So you can understand how rough time was at that time for me, right? And then I finally traveled to Medjugorje all by myself. It was such a beautiful experience. I cannot tell you in words how it makes me feel. Even today, you will find a lot of pictures in my room where that whole experience, because anytime I feel low, I just look at those pictures and it brings me so much happiness. I dream about the day that I'll be going back to Medjugorje even today. So the first day, so I got to spend 3 days in Medjugorje. The first day I landed there, as soon as you get down and you go to the St. James Church, which is the official church for Our Lady of Peace, where I was able to find this overwhelming sense of peace, something that I've not experienced anywhere else in the world. It almost felt like something was telling me that I was finally home. If you know what I mean. It was basically God telling me I am exactly where I need to be. I felt like I was in a piece of heaven. That's how I felt. And you will not find just me talking about this. You will find a lot of people who've been to Medjugorje say the exact same thing that I'm saying right now. Anyway, I ended up going there. The Medjugorje confessionals. I'm so happy that I'm Catholic. I'm so happy that God has given me and shown me all these beautiful things, and I was born in the family that I was born in, that I'm able to know God in that deep level. God has been so grateful and gracious to me, and this is exactly why I'm sitting here and sharing this experience with you, and I hope that you also experience what I am feeling. And don't get me wrong, life is hard. Life is hard. It doesn't matter if you experience something beautiful like this or not. Life will be hard, but your relationship with God, no matter how hard life gets, you know that there's a loving Father, a loving Mother, a loving Son, Jesus Christ himself, there fighting for us. And that's all you need in this life. So on the first day, I got to the confessionals. It is a huge lineup. If you know, you know. And the confessionals basically had a whole bunch of priests that were speaking the Slavic language. So I couldn't really communicate with them. But then I found a priest that was able to understand English. So by saying this story, I also want to tell you a little story that I heard about how one priest giving confession to a lady in Medjugorje, and the priest does not know Ukrainian, and he was doing the confession for the lady who did not know English. So the father was trying to confess so the father was helping with the confessionals, and at the end the lady basically told the father, I believe that you know how to speak Ukraine so well. And the father was like, I've never spoken Ukraine, or do not know Ukraine ever. Or do not know Ukrainian at all. What are you talking about? And she's saying that you're really speaking to me in Ukrainian right now. And the father is saying you're speaking to me in English. So this is the kind of supernatural events that you will find happening in Medjugorje. Even though I went there to experience all these beautiful things, I ended up getting tested by God once more. I attended mass. They usually have mass around 6 or 7, and then after the mass they have either the adoration or the veneration of the cross, depending on the day, and they also do the blessings of objects or religious articles that you have purchased. So this happens. They have a huge schedule here. If you're interested, I can leave the link of the church in this description, as well as the link to the the schedule that they have as well. So you can take a look if you're interested to visit there yourself. And then on the night of my first day, it was such a bad evening after all of that beautiful things that happened to me. After the mass and the veneration of the cross, I decided to go and grab my dinner. After dinner, it was super late when I got to my Airbnb. I usually don't get out super late. Because of the circumstance, I trusted the people there. I ended up going to my Airbnb super late, and I was kind of locked out of my Airbnb, and the owner of the Airbnb was not even there. I was so terrified. I was so scared. I just didn't know what to do. I was calling my mom, I was calling my friends, and I was just telling them that I'm going to come back or go to another country because I just didn't feel safe. I was just super scared. As I was doing that, somehow I was able to speak to one of the neighbors, and I was able to get back into my Airbnb. Thank God for him. And then I booked the tickets to go away and go to a different country and catch the bus and just leave, because I was so terrified from that experience. But that was the devil trying to take away the grace that he had laid. Even though I was there, I was having all these things. And then the same night I got super sick because the Airbnb was having a construction, and I am allergic to dust, and I just couldn't take it. I was so sick to the point that I ended up getting a fever. I wasn't able to breathe properly. Anyway, the next morning I packed everything and I was deciding to leave the country, go to Croatia and spend a couple of days there instead. And I was so bummed because I really wanted to experience something beautiful here. And all this happened, and the next morning I woke up and I took the taxi to go back to the church. I decided I'll just attend the mass and then I'll catch the bus and leave. And as I was taking the taxi and going, I was telling Mother Mary that, if you really want me to stay here, I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to do whatever it is that you're asking me to do. So as I was preparing to come to Medjugorje, I was watching a lot of videos. I was watching a lot of people's testimonies, and I came across Father Leon, who is the English speaking father in Medjugorje, and I said, if I get to see him, Mother Mary, I'm going to stay here. I need for you to show me or give me a sign. Mother Mary had bigger plans for me, not just for me to stay there for one day and then leave. Yes, I was terrified, but that's besides the point, because we are here for a bigger purpose. And then, to my own surprise, I was able to, and then after Mass, I was getting out of the church and I ended up seeing Father one-on-one. Like for me, of course, he's just a regular priest, but when you see somebody on video and you see that person in real, it's almost like you're seeing a celebrity. That's how I was feeling, and I was so happy. During that time, he was walking towards a group that traveled from America. He's the English priest there, so he had to come and minister for those English speaking crowd. I ended up going to that crowd, and I not only got to see Father, I ended up listening to his testimony once again and telling how he truly wants for us all to be saved. And he gave all of us this small cross, and I still have it, and it's a sign of happiness for me. And during the end of the talk, he was in such a rush, he was looking to leave, so I was so lucky. I was one of 2 people that was able to get a picture with him, and I'm so happy. So I'll also link that picture here. I was sick, so don't judge how I look in that picture. Okay, so now ended up staying in Medjugorje. So so I was at the back of the church at that time, and at the side of the church they have a bunch of grottos where you can go and walk and say the way of the cross, as well as all the mysteries. I don't think they have the luminous mystery, but they have the 3 mysteries of the rosary, where you can go to each grotto. You're walking. I've seen people even kneeling and crawling and going, and they're saying the rosary as they are walking around in circle. And then they also have this miraculous cross, which is also located right next to those grottos. It symbolizes resurrected Jesus. So he's lifting himself up so it's almost like Jesus is risen from the cross like this. So I have a small miniature version of that cross here. It's always right here on my prayer stand. So it's basically like this in the church itself. So I don't know if you can see it. And from the side of his leg at the back, there is water still oozing out. It oozes water out, and people believe, they don't know what the source of this water is, but then people see miraculous water oozing out from this water, miraculous water oozing out from this cross, and people take their cloths and they actually wipe the water or take it, and they believe that this water has healed a whole bunch of people as well. So that's something that you can keep in mind. So when you're visiting Medjugorje, make sure to go and check out this miraculous cross, which is also in the church as well. And then there's 2 points where people go when they are in Medjugorje, which is the Cross Mountain as well as the Apparition Hill. So the Cross Mountain is what I did on the second day after I finished the Mass, finished the talk from Father Leon. I did all of the mysteries. I also did the Stations of the Cross, and then I was feeling so empowered. When you say the rosary, more than one rosary at one time, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. It is a beautiful experience, because when you're saying the rosary, when you say the Hail Mary and the Rosary, you're not only asking Mother Mary to pray for you in your time of death, but you're actually meditating on the gospel. You're really meditating on Jesus's life. This is why it's called as the mysteries. So there's 4 different mysteries, and we are literally going through the period of Jesus, like all of Jesus's life on earth, as we are saying the Rosary. It is such a powerful prayer. I'm going to do a video on every mystery of the rosary, and I'll also teach you how to say the rosary. So please, if you can, I'm telling you, it is one of the most powerfulest prayer ever. I was the person that was deciding to leave Bosnia after that scary experience, but I ended up staying there because I started saying the rosary, because I saw the true presence of God. When I say I saw the true presence of God, it is something that I cannot tell you in words. My soul felt so peaceful. My soul felt that I was in union in heaven, walking with God and the spiritual angels. This is how I felt when I was there. So I want for you also to experience that, and that's why I'm telling you the power of the rosary. Anytime you get close to Mother Mary, she's not taking you anywhere but to her son, Jesus Christ. So one thing that I want to tell people that don't really believe in Mary, I'm not here to argue with you at all. That's fine. It is your belief. But we are the portal that God wants in order for God's work to be done on earth. This is why we have pastors, this is why we have teachers, and this is why we have Mother Mary. Without Mother Mary, we don't have Jesus as human being. Without Mother Mary, we don't have Jesus on earth living like us. As supernatural and as powerful as our God the Father is, he needed Mother Mary himself. He needed somebody to say yes. He needed that yes from Mother Mary for us to have the redemption that Christ has given us, that Christ is giving us through his sacrifice on the cross. Without Mother Mary saying yes, there's no Jesus that would have come on earth. This is something that I want you to keep in mind. And you might tell me again, it's not written in the Bible, but I do want to quote that it was the angel Gabriel himself that came and told Mother Mary. And I want to tell you, it was the angel Gabriel himself that came and told Mother Mary, "Hail Mary, Mother of God." It was the first Hail Mary that was ever told by anyone on earth. It was angel Gabriel himself who said that to Mother Mary. So we're not just praying to somebody that doesn't require reverence. If Queen Esther deserves reverence, how much more reverence can Mother Mary, being the Mother of God, deserve? This is something that I want to put in your heart for you to ponder, something that you can think about when you're praying to God. The one thing and the one place Mother Mary will take you if you pray the rosary is to her son. This is where you will pray. And when you pray the rosary, pray it with so much intention on what mystery that we are praying about. What is it that God and Jesus and everybody was going through? So as you're praying the rosary, you will really live and relive the life of Jesus Christ. And that's such a beautiful thing that we can do, living on earth, thinking about what God went through when he was here. So keep that in mind about the rosary. So, getting back to the story, I ended up going to Cross Mountain on the second day. So it was a Friday. That was also a miracle. I didn't even know that they were having, Way of the Cross. So basically they started the Way of the Cross at 2 p.m. and I was sick. So I was getting a medication from one of the, medical shop, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to make it. I didn't even know there was a Way of the Cross to begin with. Just randomly, I ended up being there exactly at 2 o'clock at the base of the mountain. And I heard from the villagers that it was such a hard mountain to climb. It's going to be super difficult. So, whatever. I ended up going there at 2 p.m. and it was almost like the villagers as well as the priest who was leading the Way of the Cross was waiting for me to reach there for them to start the prayer. I didn't even know. I felt like that was also another mysterious event. Well, you can say that it was a coincidence, but I felt like it was Mother Mary waiting for me to have those people wait there. And usually when you do hikes, it's always good to go with people because you're not going to give up that easily. Or there are people waiting for you and they're going to help you out in the hike, and it's just much more of a better experience when you hike. If you like to hike, I am somebody who loves to hike, and I know that I like it when I have people around me, and that motivates me. So when I see the other person do it, I can do it, and then I just keep going, right? So they have the Stations of the Cross. So there are 14 Stations of the Cross. So what is the Station of the Cross, you might ask? So that's basically us walking through the steps of Jesus as he was getting crucified. So the Stations of the Cross is basically the 14 steps that Jesus had to go through for him to finally get crucified. Basically is a meditation where we are walking the Stations of the Cross, taking the same steps that Jesus did, and meditating that experience that Jesus was going through as he was getting crucified. So I'll give you some of the examples of the Stations of the Cross. The very first one is Jesus is condemned to death. The second one is Jesus takes up his cross. And then the seventh one is Jesus falls the second time. And then Jesus meets the woman in Jerusalem. The 13th station is Jesus' body is taken down from the cross and Jesus is finally laid on the tomb. These are some of the steps that I'm reading, but there are 14 stations of the cross like this, and we basically meditate the station of the cross, and it is designed as though they have grottos as you're climbing the mountain for you to meditate on the stations of the cross as you are climbing the mountain. So of course I did take my journal as I was traveling there, so I want to read. And the hike was about 1 hour, and it was super tough. For me, I felt like it was super tough, and I saw there were so many villagers that were literally doing it barefoot, and that just tells me, how powerful their faith is. And this is something that I do want to talk about. The villagers there, they've been doing this for a long time, and they've experienced God like this so many times, and they are so faithful. They are so faithful, so respectful, and they're just so powerful in their faith that it just feels like what we do in our own personal life is nothing when compared to their amount of faith. These were all things that really inspired me. Imagine doing the hike without shoes, without anything. And that's the amount of faith that you need to have when you go to God. And I've also written that the 10th station was the longest and the hardest of all. This is something that I wanted to tell you. So the 10th station is a little toughy, but keep that in mind as you are praying. And what is the cross mountain and the cross that you see up there? It's basically a concrete cross that you go up to. Nothing exciting. There's no super, beautiful architecture or anything like that in that cross, but this is what I wanted to read to you. A miraculous cross in Medjugorje is known as the Cross Mountain, or Krizuik, and it was built in 1934. So that's how old that cross is, and it was built on 1934 to commemorate the 1900th anniversary of Jesus's crucifixion. So that's something to keep in mind. And the cross stands at 8.5 meters, 28 feet long in height, and is made of concrete. Like I said, there's nothing exciting. It's just a plain white cross. You will see a picture of it right here. And inside the cross, there is a relic of the true cross, the piece of wood on which Jesus was crucified. And again, the pilgrims climb there, and they know as hard as it is, they are actually doing that pilgrimage in hopes that their life is going to get transformed, that Jesus and God the Father is going to do something beautiful for them in their life. And there's a lot of experiences and reports of how people doing the hike have really experienced miracles as they are climbing the mountain, and beautiful things has happened for them. So please, if you can, watch some of the videos of these people giving their testimonies on this topic as well. This morning I decided I'll check out from my Airbnb, and I ended up booking a hotel room because it was more closer to the church, and the amount of dust that house was having, I just could not even breathe properly. So I ended up going to this hotel super close to the church, and then on the third day I was basically doing the Apparition Hill hike. It is not as hard as the Cross Mountain hike. So the last and final day, which was the third day, I decided I will go to the Apparition Hill. So what is the Apparition Hill, you might ask? This is another hill which is located about 2 kilometers away from the city center, and it's also known as Podbro in Croatian. I'm probably not saying that right. And this is the first site of the apparition, and it's believed that this was the first site where Virgin Mary appeared to the villagers in 1981. And the people usually climb the Apparition Hill with their own prayers, with their own worries, and they pray the rosary as they are doing it, because just like the Cross Mountain, they have small grottos made out of bronze with the mysteries of the rosary, and they climb the mountain. One of the other tradition that I noticed was that people will pick up a small stone from the bottom of the hill, and then when they climb up and go to the top, they put it there in hopes that they're dropping their worry, their problems, whatever it is that they came to Medjugorje for, and drop the stone up there in hopes that their worry is taken care of by Mother Mary. When I was there, so I also again had a small journal session there. I was telling Mother Mary of my reason of why I went to Medjugorje. why I wanted to go to Medjugorje, which was to find my life's purpose. And as part of my purpose, I have started this YouTube channel as well, and I hope that it will bless people that are watching it as well. Everything that I have is a gift from God, and I'm truly grateful that God has chosen me to even if it's a small act, that I'm able to do this and contribute for His kingdom. I'm just going to read this from one of the resources online. So many pilgrims walk the path on their knees or even barefoot as an act of penance and devotion. At the top there is a cross marking and that is the exact spot where the apparitions were reported to have taken place. It is a place of deep spiritual significance for many visitors who come to pray, meditate, seek personal encounters with the divine. And that takes me to a list of things that I wanted to tell you were very unusual in this location. Again, it's not just me that is saying it. So up in the apparition hill, as I was climbing the the mountain, the hill, I was keeping an eye on the sun. It was shining so bright as though it was a piece of heaven, and one of the things is that I noticed was that people usually see a lot of things where the sun basically spins, and I was not able to witness that. But what I did witness was that, so imagine that this is the sun. You will see the clouds pass by here, and then the clouds pass by here. It's almost like there's a small opening, and this sun is a piece of heaven. That's how I felt it. That's the message or the vision that I was seeing when I was seeing the sun. I'll put a picture of the sun right here as well. It's not just me. A lot of people see a lot of different things. Again, your spiritual life with God is personal. It's very personal. So what I experience, you will not experience, and what you experience, I will not experience. And this is why I'm saying, have that constant prayer with God, that God gives you an opportunity to experience Him. Every time you pray, ask God to show you who He is Himself, because this is the most important thing that's going to keep you in that track, in that relationship with God, in that encounter with God, that's keeping you with Him forever. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then, yes, the other supernatural thing is the crucifix that I was talking to you about here. And then the apparition hill where the apparitions occur, and the peace when I go there. So that is something that I have never experienced anywhere else. If you go to Medjugorje, the peace that comes over, not you, but your soul, is something that I can't even talk to you about. The crucifix, again, the one cross mountain, I went up there and I was kneeling in front of that cross mountain crucifix, which has Jesus's relic in it, basically kneeling and asking Jesus to take away any sin of myself, of my ancestors. I was praying for every single relative, including my cousins, my uncles, my aunties, my brother, everyone. Like, I was praying for everyone, and I was asking God to forgive everyone's sins as much as I could. And I can only pray for my friends and family, and that's exactly what I did. I went there keeping everything that anybody would have done to basically ask God to remove and wipe away the sins that we might have done to other people. So that's what I did. And then, yes, I also talked to you about the visionaries, which the 6 visionaries, they still do exist. They still do see Mother Mary, and they still do experience supernatural things as they are seeing Mother Mary. One of the videos you might find on YouTube, if possible, I'll also try to link it here, is that you will see the eyes is fixated when Mother Mary comes. Their eyes is so fixated that even if probably a stone or anything goes, they're not even winking, they're not blinking. Their focus is so like they've seen something crazy and they're just talking. Even if you think that they're acting, it's impossible for them to be so fixated and just so concentrated and focused and talking to Mother Mary when they see Mother Mary. It's a supernatural experience. It's a supernatural place. It has transformed my life. Now, what has Medjugorje done to me personally? It has really transformed my spiritual life. I have wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I never knew on what topic, on what. I was looking for my purpose. I've found purpose in my life. I am able to do more than what I'm able to do when it comes to my personal encounters with God. Now when I pray, God and Mother Mary has brought new people and new things into my life where I know what she wants for me to do, and she's putting in things in my path as I'm getting closer to God. She's taking me through steps, go here, do this, do that, do this, do that. She's literally walking in front of me and leading me to places. And it has really deepened my love for Jesus, which is what we all need the most. And I hope and I pray that everybody that is watching this video also gets to experience exactly what I did. And I want Jesus to be your first and true love. I want Jesus to be the one that is talking to you and giving you the peace in the times that life is being so difficult for us, which of course we cannot escape. We are here, we will have a lot of hard times, but if we have Jesus with us, there's nothing else we need in order for us to live a peaceful life. So that's something that I want to tell you. My prayer life has changed to the point that I can stay in the adoration chapel for hours and hours. And I go there, like I said, I go and ask God certain questions that doesn't even make sense. And I've seen God actually answer me. I've seen God talking through me through the scriptures. And this is why I was inspired to start this channel, because people need to know who God is, and why we Christians act so crazy, because we really experience the presence of God. Everyone that is truly experienced Jesus, they know that this is not like some random God or something that's dead. It is a true and living God that's there to walk with you in this life. He is a God that's experienced what it is like to live a human life. So anything that we are going through, he has gone through it. Any struggle that he's gone through, we have gone through it. And one more thing, we didn't really have to go and be crucified. I'm sure there are a lot of people who sacrifice and who've been murdered much worse than Jesus on this earth. But imagine that there's a God that's gone through the same human emotions, human feelings, human life, what it is to live life. He understands exactly what we are going through. He knows what it is. There's nobody more that can feel and know your pain than a person that's gone through the same feelings and things. This is the kind of God we have as Christians. And I really want for you also to have that beautiful encounter with Christ. I did also want to add some of the things that I did on how I got there, what I did for my travels, and some of the recommendations of the locations in Medjugorje as well. So the first thing is that how I got there. So people usually go to Medjugorje through Croatia. That's exactly what I did in Croatia. So basically I took the bus to get to Zagreb. From Zagreb I ended up taking this bus, which again I'll put a picture of that bus here. So basically they will take you through the customs to get from Croatia to Medjugorje, and they will drop you right in front of the St. James Church. It's a bus stop that is super close to the church, so as soon as you reach there, you just have to walk for like 1 or 2 minutes to get to the church. And then how I got out is I asked one of the taxi guys to take me to Mostar, which is a city in Croatia as well. Again, you had to cross the border to get to Mostar. From there I took the bus that took me to Split in Croatia, and then I took the ferry to go to Ancona in Italy. It was such a beautiful time. Why I wanted to tell you about this is because of my experience taking the ferry from Split to go to Ancona. It is such a beautiful experience. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I did an overnight ferry, so there was a beautiful suite that I booked, and it was such a good time. And of course, when you're in this ferry and you're sleeping in a comfortable bed, it's almost like you're rocking. I had such a good time. I really enjoyed my time. I want you also to do it if you can. And again, like I said, I did not have the finances or the means to be able to do this trip at all. Mother Mary provided the money for me. She wanted me to experience this. So if you really want to experience something like this, ask God to give you the resources, give you the sources for you to be able to do this, and God will make a way. God will make a way. So I'm so excited and animated talking about this. It's only because that's the amount of joy that I felt by doing this trip. And I want you to also experience that transformation that I did. Even if you can't really travel, I really want you to listen to the videos that I'm linking in the description, as well as to the book The Warning, as well as find as many testimonies as you can about people traveling to Medjugorje and finding answers for difficult times in their life. I will leave you here. I hope that this video has given you some sort of inspiration, and I hope that this will also bring you closer to God, because ultimately all we need is a beautiful relationship with God that's going to take us back to where we belong with God. I hope that you will also experience a piece of heaven. If you can, please go to Medjugorje and experience a piece of heaven there. All right, take care. I'll see you in the next one, and have a beautiful day. Bye.